You've tuned into Radio Northern Beaches. We live stream on rnb.org.au across the northern beaches of New South Wales, Australia and all over the world. You can also catch us local on 88.7 and 90.3 FM. Our podcasts are available at your convenience at rnb.org.au or rnbpodcast.com.au. So you and your friends don't miss any episodes. Don't forget to follow and share. Now here's our latest podcast.
Well, hello and welcome to the Miscellanea Variety Show, a show about everything and nothing all at once. I'm your host, Maria Mai, and today we're heading backstage for a candid conversation with two artists whose music couldn't be any more different. Let's find out what's really happening behind the scenes. First, we welcome one of the biggest and brightest stars in Australian country music, Amber Lawrence. With 6 golden guitars, 2 ARIA nominations and over 20 years of touring, Amber is a powerhouse performer who has taken her music from Tamworth all the way to Europe. She's known for her heartfelt songs that capture real life, but also for her infectious anthems like Comeback Queens and her brand new single, Something to Dance To, a song that reminds us sometimes you just need to let go and hit the dance floor. She's also been out on the road with her cheekily named You Can Admit You Like Country Music tour, inviting even the country skeptics to join the fun. Amber, it's so great to have you with us.
Oh, thank you. I'm very happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Your new single, Something to Dance To, has such a light-hearted celebration energy. It's all about margaritas, sexy jeans, and shaking your booty to a great beat. What made you want to create a track that's all about cutting loose and letting go of worries?
Yeah, well, I think I've recorded and written so many songs over the years that really focus on the same message a lot of the time, and it's very aspirational and believe in yourself and cheers to the girls and you've got heart. They're the songs that have made my career, and I will always write those songs, and they come like first nature to me. This kind of song, I feel like there's room for it now and then, just to lighten up the mood, lighten up the set list when you're playing live. Sometimes you've got to step back and put yourself in the place of the audience and be like, the audience just wants to have a good time, especially at music festivals. They don't always want to have to be listening to the lyrics and piecing it all together. So that's kind of why with this one, we just, we wrote it for fun. And then I sort of was like, I'll just put that in the maybe pile. And then everyone I played it to said, no, this is really cool. You've got to release it. In particular, my husband's one of those people who is not in the music industry and listens as though he's in the audience. He's like, no, that's really fun. Just release it.
Here's your litmus test, as they say. If he likes it, then it must be good.
Well, yeah, that's
I've got one of those husbands too.
Exactly. And sometimes it's not a good idea to ask people within the music industry because they have a bit more trained ears and they're not necessarily your person in the audience. So I do like to go to your average Joe, which is my husband.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yes. It's like food critics, right? They're over-engineering, overthinking, and the public just wants a great music to dance to, right? And when we go out, a lot of people don't dance anymore. They'll listen to music, but they don't go out on the dance floor to dance. So it's great that we have music to dance to. Also, I think with what's happening in the world today, it's very, very heavy and oppressive, and every now and then we just want to sort of cut loose and dance, right?
Exactly. Yeah, that really was all the thinking behind this new song. And also I just had the song earlier this year, Comeback Queens, which was a real sort of disco country anthem. And, I didn't want to follow that up with something that couldn't follow it on the dance floor. So we had to keep going that way.
Well, Comeback Queens it's really an anthem for, I guess, older women maybe, especially when you said West Coast Coolers in the lyrics. I went, oh, my God, that's my song. And, if I had a school reunion, I would definitely play that song.
Yeah, it is. And look, I guess it's women, I would say, over 30, that this song is about, 30, 40. It doesn't mean 20-year-olds can't enjoy it. But they don't know what a West Coast cooler is, do they?
It was one of my first drinks, I'll tell you that much.
Actually, once I'd written the song, I indulged in them again, and they're actually a really good drink if you don't want to get too drunk.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Now, I love that song. I love the video clip as well. That's what I thought immediately is I've got to get my girls together and we can go out and dance to really all of your songs and just really let loose for a night and just have a great time.
We've got a gig coming up in Sydney, so you might have to see what you
I
can
know. I saw that on the 8th of November, Saturday, at the Paddo RSL. And tomorrow I noticed that you're in Winton.
That's right. I'm in Winton tomorrow. So
oh, my God.
It's always something to keep me on my toes.
The other song, I guess the tour that you're currently on now is You Can Admit You Like Country Music. And one of the lyrics is, got me thinking that doesn't everyone like a fiddle at the end of the 9 to 5 week? I love that lyric.
Yeah, right. A bit tongue in cheek. But
your lyrics are really, they make me actually giggle, some of them.
Thank you.
How have audience responded then? My music is very eclectic. As long as it's got me, sort of resonates with me, whether it's jazz, country, rock, blues, whatever, I like everything. And a lot of people say, oh, I don't like country. Oh, I don't like. And I go, why? It's the song that you should judge and be open to and not a genre, if you know what I mean. So how do audience deal with that? And is that why you've got the You Can Admit You Like Country song?
Yeah, that's right. Well, that's really was an observation that I was actually invited on Channel 10, The Project, which doesn't exist anymore, to talk about Beyonce and her new country album. And, their whole interview was based around country music's having a moment. And it's funny for me because I've been literally 21 years in this career, as I say in the song. And over those years, I've had people tell me to my face, oh, God, no, I can't come to your concert because I hate country music. Or then the opposite, like I started my son at school and everyone's telling me they love country music the minute they found out I was a country singer. So I just sort of wrote the song about that, how, everyone's just starting to say, oh, yeah, I love country music. I love country music. And, it's got a lot to do with the American country music that's taking over the world commercially. Look, it's got a lot to do with the fashion. And, I'm happy to tap into that if people want to come to my show and put their boots on and have a good time.
Yeah, and I know that if you're driving around regional Australia, like I've recently done, it's more likeable in regional Australia, but not so much in the city. And I think that's our loss, really. Yeah, so I'm actually playing it on the radio more and more because, like I said, it's more about the song and the lyrics and the beat and the melody rather than the genre. Like, that should not be a reason.
It's also one of the only Australian music industries that's really thriving. Like, there are a lot of Australian country artists who are still making a career out of original music, and that's not really happening in any other genre. You'll find that any other Australian, it's the legacy acts that are still touring and, some Triple J stuff, but on the whole, Australian country music artists are continually getting out there and doing shows. So, we're kind of lucky that we've got the support base.
Exactly. Today I'm going to also be playing a lot of your songs, and I reckon we'll convert a lot of people on the beaches and beyond to your music and to other Australian country and blues. There's country contemporary. There's lots of things, and you really need to tap into it and discover it. Don't miss out on this. Now, looking back at your journey from Tamworth to the Talent Quest to headlining international festivals now, what's been the most unexpected or surreal moment so far?
Oh, so many. I mean, playing Lithuania was definitely unexpected and
wow.
The furthest point I could get away from home almost. But also, singing for our troops overseas and just getting an incredible reaction, singing.
When was that? Just elaborate a bit more about that.
I've done that quite a few times, but I did it recently this year in the Philippines. June. That was amazing. Singing for our soldiers over there. They're all young people these days, Well, I guess they've always been young, but for me, they're much younger than me now. They're in their early 20s, but they love it. It's great. They love having me sing for them with my band, and we just have a really great time just bringing them a slice of Australia. This year I sang my song Heart for the Pink Test in the middle of the field at the Sydney Cricket Ground. Yeah, I think music just keeps on providing surprises, which is cool. I mean, even Saturday night I played Sunset Bash at Penrith, and everyone was singing all of my songs, and they were all originals, and everyone was singing every word, and I was like, wow, you just sort of when you've got your head buried in work, you know, touring and promoting shows, you sort of forget that your songs have connected with people, and you're sort of a bit hard on yourself, thinking, why do I have to work so hard, these tickets, you know, to move tickets? But you realise that people are out there and they're enjoying your music, and you just got to keep on doing it.
Yeah, I know what you're saying is that sometimes you, I guess in moments when you're feeling down, you think, what am I doing it all for? But when you get that kind of feedback from the audience, then you go, that's why I'm doing it.
Totally.
Yeah. Now, you've built a reputation for writing songs that, you know, reflect real life. How do you decide which of your own experiences you turn into music?
Oh, I'm not really all that picky about what ones I turn into music. It's really just which ones sort of stand out and pop into my mind and really sort of drive a song, you know?
Yeah. So you're not writing about your husband or your family or your friends?
I definitely have. And, you know, at the moment they're both sort of just, you know, in the middle of just doing what they do. So it's a bit boring to write about them now. Wrote lots of songs when my son was, you know, little. And when I first met my husband as well, wrote lots of songs about that. And now we're in that kind of stable, hopefully.
Yeah. Well, like maybe at school or in life, you know, if you're an author, you always write from your own experiences because they sound, you know, more authentic and they're more genuine. And a lot of people do write from that, and then we can go on their journey. So it's almost like a biography of what's going on in your life. Yeah. So lots of margaritas and sexy jeans and shaking your booty from the sound of it in your life.
A little bit, yeah. I'm off, definitely. No, I'm not the biggest booty shaker, to be honest, but I wrote it in a song, so I better start.
Now, I know you're strapped for time, so with the new album coming in 2026, what can we expect from your sounds and themes, and what have you got in store for us? Yeah,
you've definitely heard, obviously, quite a few of the songs, and I guess, you know, Comeback Queens, that stage of life where it's all about the friendships, and you know, you might be married, you might be divorced, but that the love life is not the focus of this album. It's really about being content in that suburban life that you're at, that stage of life, and the good times with your girlfriends.
So, yeah, friendships, that's what I'm seeing. A lot of it, that's the underlying theme, maybe.
Exactly. Friendships and contentment, and, you know, sort of being proud of where you've got to in your life, but also knowing that age doesn't define you, you know, like go out and be more if you want to be.
Yeah, it's definitely, you know, you're in your friendship era, and I guess elevating women in your songs.
Exactly. Yeah. Empowering women in their 30s and 40s and beyond to still thrive and have a great time.
All right, with that, Amber, thank you so much for talking to us today. If you're not a country music lover, then I'm sure you're going to be one after this. And you can admit you like country. What's wrong with that? Thanks, Amber.
Thank you so much. It was a lovely chat.
Make sure to head over to amberlawrence.com.au to learn more about Amber and where you can catch her live. It's now time for our second backstage pass, and we're hanging out with Sydney's own Chuck Sics, multi-instrumentalist, producer and all-round creative powerhouse. His new single, I've Been Thinking, is a lush little anthem for anyone who's ever felt stuck in their own head. It's the third track from his debut EP, Slipstream, which is out now. The whole EP dives into themes like dread, overthinking and the messy magic of making music. Think Radiohead meets Tame Impala, but with Chuck's own twist. He's written, played, produced and mixed every bit of it himself. From trumpet to drums, he's built a soundscape that's dreamy, raw and totally his own. Now let's get into it. Hey Chuck, so glad to be speaking with you.
Me too. Thanks for having me on.
Now, the song I've Been Thinking really taps into that stuck in your head feeling. Was there a moment where you thought, yep, this needs to be a song?
Yeah, absolutely. So it was after a while. I'd had the song, particularly the chorus of the song, kicking around for such a long time, and I was very nervous to finish it. And I was really procrastinating with it. And that's kind of where the rest of the song actually unfolded eventually, because it's about being stuck in your head. It's about being, it's about procrastinating, and I was procrastinating really hard with this one in particular. And one day I just was like, well, maybe I'll just write about that.
Exactly.
And yeah, and the hook, the I've been thinking of you lately bit sort of evolved from being potentially a lovey-dovey sort of lyric to being a bit more like, thinking about a version of myself that has finished this song, essentially, or like even personifying the song itself. I've been thinking about it, and I thought that was quite an interesting ground to work from.
Well, you seem to be a bit of a procrastinator because you've been working on Slipstream for, 5 years now? So what kept you going, and how did you know it was finally ready,
Well, a lot of the songs have been around for a long time, so they have been around for 5 years, some of them even longer. For a while, when you write songs, whatever age it is, like in your teens or whatever, I kept moving on. I kept moving forward. I kept writing more songs. And then I got to a point last year where I felt as though I was really able to work on even just a small body of work, this EP. And I dedicated some time to finishing it, and I thought, well, what will I start with? What will I start this new chapter with? And I thought I would just go back to all those songs that I had written, such a long time ago. And
that's great that you did, because the EP moves through a bunch of moods and styles. Was that intentional, or did the songs just evolve that way over the years and you've just put them together?
Well, I mean, they kind of, they're all, I think the largest gap between like the first song I wrote for this, the most recent song I wrote for this, is probably about 3 years. And I certainly wanted to touch on a bunch of different styles that, I'm inspired by, and music that I love. I mean, I was writing these songs kind of in a stage where I was trying to mimic, I was trying to mimic the songs that I loved the most, and energies in musical genres that I really loved. And so as much as they do, it covers a fair bit of ground, I did also really want to make it a very cohesive, I tried to make it a very cohesive experience. And they just felt like they worked together. And I think that's more because that was just kind of my style at the time. I wrote songs a certain way and strayed from that every now and then, but ultimately I still had the same kind of identity in each of them. There's something in them that I recognize is there in all of them.
Yeah, well, I've been listening to all of the songs. There's 5 songs on that EP for a couple of times now. And with each listen, it's just getting better and better, if I can say that. And
thank you.
Yeah, and whilst they're all different, they sort of do say a collective story. And I really like the song Alone in the Plane, which is the last one. And actually have been listening to that the most, to be honest.
That's
and
my favorite
what
too.
Fascinates me, that you actually play all the instruments and you've produced everything yourself. That's pretty wild. And it reminds me a bit like Prince when he came on board at a young age. I think he was 18 or 19. He ended up playing all 27 instruments on his album. So what's that like? Do you love having full control, or do you miss bouncing ideas off other people, or how does that work? I'm just so impressed with that.
Well, it's something that I kind of ultimately did out of necessity almost. When I was beginning to record, I just became so excited to hear a finished song that I would just sort of try and piece it all together. And the idea initially was that I was just making a demo, and that then I would bring it to my band, and then we'd all record it live and that sort of thing. And then eventually I just kind of wanted to make my demos sound better and better. And so I got better at mixing and production and all that stuff. And I kind of really, really love it now. I love having the control. It's very frustrating sometimes because you do have to wear a lot of hats, and you can sort of blur lines a little bit and get a bit confused. But I really like that aspect of it. There are actually a couple of tracks where there are other people playing on it though. So there's one on Alone on a Plane. My friend Jack is playing the electric piano. He did a little take on that for a verse chorus thing. And then on the song Slipstream, I got my drummer River to record hi-hat in one of the sections. So I did do a little bit of, I did need a little bit of help here and there. But yeah, everything
It's
else
mostly your work, though.
Yes. Yeah. Well, yes. Yeah. So I wrote the stuff. I certainly, recorded the lion's share of it. But it's nice to know that there's like my drummer's hi-hat playing is in one of the songs, and then my old keyboard player's piano part is in there, and it's fun. It's nice.
So you've said in the past that you don't always trust your own emotions when you write. How does that play out in your lyrics then? Do you ever listen back and think, was that really me? What am I writing here? I don't make sense.
I almost never know what I'm writing. In fact, in a way, I think it's kind of good that I'm putting this older music out now, because I might actually understand it better than I did at the time. But yeah, I mean, I've never felt like a reliable arbiter of my own tastes as well. There's songs on this record that I really didn't like when I was writing them and had a lot of troubles with, and then sort of a few days later was like, oh, you know what, that's actually pretty good. And then, also I've written songs that I think are amazing as I'm writing them, and then a few days later you go, oh, that's not very good at all. I can follow my instincts so far, but I think a healthy amount of self-doubt is at least good to acknowledge, because if you start to think that, you are always right about what's good and what's bad, then you stop learning.
That's very, very true. You need to always write what comes from the heart and be genuine, and not to over-engineer it or over-criticise your own work. Just go with the flow. Sometimes that's the best way to do it. And I'm not even a musician or creative person, but sometimes you've just got to go with the flow. Whatever's coming out from you, just go with it and see where it takes you, I guess.
Yeah, well, it applies in many facets of life.
So what kind of feedback are you getting from listeners and people that are hearing your music?
Well, people are liking Alone on a Plane, which is cool.
That's good.
Yeah, I've had a lot of friends. I'm excited that song in particular has come out, because it has been the one that I've been most excited for, and it's so great to see that people are connecting with it. Like my friends and others are connecting with it in a way that I anticipated. People are, I think I'm getting really lovely messages from family and friends, and I'm just glad that people are resonating with it, and that hopefully it means something to them, because that's a huge part of why I write music in the first place, is to share my love of music with people.
Exactly right. Chuck, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. Really excited for this EP to do wonders for you and to get your music out there. I'm really happy to support artists like yourself, because I just think that you're very, very talented and you've got a long way to go, and we need to celebrate that creativity that you bring on the table. So thank you very much, Chuck.
Thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure, and those are very kind words. I really appreciate it.
If Chuck's sound speaks to you, go show some love on Instagram at Chuck Sics. Thanks for coming backstage with me today, and I'll be back next week on Miscellanea with more stories, more sounds, and more ways to showcase Aussie music. I'm Maria Mai. Ciao for now.
Australia, the lucky country. We've got meat pies. We've got the world's best beer. But most importantly, top of the list, we've got Radio Northern Beaches 88.7, 90.3. Now hitting the entire world on www.rnb.org.au.